Hi, everybody. Welcome to English Digest. I'm Tom.
I'm Stephanie.
And today we're going to talk about a studio apartment that is available in the Xinyi district of Taipei. Not really, but this is just a supposition, if you will. It's an imaginary situation. You might find an advertisement like this if you are looking for an apartment and if you happen to be a foreigner in Taiwan and you hope the information is in English.
We're going to be looking at a fully furnished studio in Xinyi district. If it's fully furnished, it's got everything in there. We're going to talk about what that might include and what it might not include. But as we always do, guys, we're going to listen to today's article read out loud. Stay tuned.
Located in the heart of the city with great transportation links and all amenities nearby. Rent 18,000 NT dollars per month, including management fees. Address, Xinyi Road, Xinyi District, Taipei. Hello, future tenants. I'm offering a newly renovated studio apartment for rent and am looking for a responsible tenant to move in. This is a perfect space for single professionals or students. Apartment features. Fully furnished, comes with a queen-sized bed, wardrobe, TV, fridge, microwave, air conditioner, and water heater. Just bring your suitcase and you're ready to move in. Newly renovated with modern design. Large windows with plenty of natural light. Location and transportation. Only a 10-minute walk to the nearest MRT station, providing easy access to the rest of Taipei. Several bus routes nearby, making it super convenient to get around the city. Nearby amenities. Xinyi Shopping District is just around the corner. Restaurants, shops, and supermarkets are all within walking distance. Close to gyms, libraries, and parks for your leisure and relaxation. Rental conditions. Ideal for individuals. Quiet and respectful tenants preferred. Minimum lease term, 1 year with a security deposit required. No pets allowed, and smoking is prohibited inside the apartment. If you're interested in viewing the apartment, feel free to message me. I'd be happy to arrange a viewing at your convenience.
Welcome, guys. So this is our TOEIC unit, and we're going to be learning about some terms that we commonly use when we're looking for places to live, especially places to rent. If you're a student out there, you might want to particular attention to this if you're new to the city of Taipei, or maybe you're studying down in Taichung or Kaohsiung, and you need to find a studio apartment pretty quickly. Studio apartments are pretty small. They're usually just one room and then maybe a bathroom that's connected to that. I live in a studio. It's pretty small. And I keep thinking, I should move and get an extra bedroom for visitors who come. But it's just so nice and convenient, and I don't have to spend a lot of time cleaning because my place is so small. But if it's furnished, and that's one of our vocabulary words here, it means there are accommodations that come along, or there are pieces of furniture and things that come along with the accommodation that you're renting. It could be a bed. Some landlords provide clothing closets. Those come along with them sometimes. Sometimes people put their extra furniture in there from their home. I've had landlords give me furniture that they say they were, nicely supplying these things, and I didn't want them. I wanted them to take their extra furniture and, go put it in storage or dump it somewhere. But if it's furnished, sometimes it'll have a TV. I haven't had a TV in an apartment yet that I've rented in Taiwan, but I know that happens sometimes. It'll always have AC. It sometimes will have a washing machine. Of course, you'd have to have a refrigerator. My first apartment here, though, Tom, I had a tiny, tiny refrigerator that was so small I thought, well, this is a waste. So I went and bought a full size.
Yeah, the small ones are for students. I used to have one in my dorm room, I believe, years ago.
That would work.
And, of course, this does remind me that when I was living in Xindian many years ago, it was furnished, and they actually had a console stereo as part of the furnishings. I hadn't seen one of those in many years.
That's nice.
It's like a music system that has a turntable, a record player, and it had speakers and things like that.
Now, were you storing something that they didn't want in their own apartment?
I don't think so, because I was, fairly new to Taiwan at the time, so I didn't really have a bunch of stuff myself.
So you didn't care that it was there?
No, and I actually figured out how to use the speakers to plug my CD player into that console stereo, but I don't think people will furnish those anymore.
No.
But yeah, as you said, you might get a sofa, a bed, a wardrobe, or whatever. Well, let's find out about this studio apartment that is available in the Xini district of Taipei. Well, it's located in the heart of the city with great transportation links and all amenities nearby. So here the amenities are just things that you need. I guess it could be clothing stores or, restaurants or whatever. So everything you need is nearby. And again, this is in the Xini district, which of course is how cities are divided. Taipei has a Beitou district, Shilin district, Zhongshan district, etc. The only one I know in Kaohsiung is Zuoying because the
MRT's
high-speed rail goes there. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's the only really famous place I'm familiar with, too. So, yeah, it's in the Xini district, which is very, very expensive, in case you don't know. That's where 101 is located. And, there are some really fancy businesses in that area. It's not a place that most people can afford to buy unless they've been working for a while or even renting. I guess you could rent there and just have to have a pretty small space. So, but it's a nice area. There are a lot of amenities, as Tom said. Amenities can be lots of different things. Maybe there's a nice park in the area. Maybe it's got a very safe space for kids. If you've got kids you're raising, maybe there are swimming pools in the area. I mean, there could be lots of things. So what amenities refer to, though, are just facilities that make a particular environment more enjoyable, safer, convenient. Having the MRT close to my apartment is really nice. I also have lots of very good bus lines that go along Heping East Road, which is where I live. So I consider my own district to be quite convenient. And most people are looking for lots of amenities when they find a place.
They sure are. And of course, everybody wants to live in a convenient place. They want transportation to be convenient. So here, of course, is the price of the apartment. What's the rent? How much are you going to pay for the apartment per month? Well, it's 18,000 NT dollars per month. And that includes management fees. So there might be a security guard on the first floor or something like that.
Yeah.
But these are managing fees, which could include all sorts of different services. You'll have to ask them specifically what they are.
I have management fees in my building, and my rent does not include management fees, so that's kind of nice. But it's usually for big buildings where someone handles the trash for you in the basement. You just take your trash downstairs rather than wait for the garbage trucks that come along at night. They also pay to have your whole building cleaned. That's an important part. And if something breaks, the management fees will cover that in the common areas. So again, it's on Xini Lu, and it's in the Xini district. So here is this little, I guess it's like an ad or a flyer. Someone's trying to advertise this place. Hello, future tenants. A tenant is someone who rents a particular apartment or home. Doesn't have to be an apartment, guys. You could be renting a home if you live in that kind of place that rents out homes to people. But you're a person who occupies some land or property, and you're renting from the owner, or as we call them, the landlord.
Kind of interesting. A fella who works for this company, his surname is Tenant. You might want to check the credits in our magazine there. His name is probably there. But in any case here, these are tenants, people who are going to live in this apartment. I'm offering a newly renovated studio apartment for rent, and am looking for a responsible tenant to move in. Now, if something's renovated, it has been basically remade, okay? It was old before, maybe the paint was chipping, and there were some other problems, and it smelled moldy or whatever. The floor tiles were falling apart, so they renovated it. They basically fixed it up again. They hired some workers who went in there with a jackhammer and took all the old stuff out, and then they put some new stuff in. So it's been renovated, and it is available for rent. And, of course, this particular landlord or landlady, depending on the gender of this person, is looking for a new tenant who is responsible, somebody who won't destroy the apartment.
Yeah, they're looking for someone who will take good care of their apartment while they rent. That's important. It's a perfect space for single professionals, people who have already finished school and who have a full-time job, or maybe a student. Now, this apartment features, it comes with a fully furnished set of furniture. It's got a queen-size bed, wardrobe. That's what we call the clothing closet. It's a big piece of furniture. Mine weighs like 500 pounds. It's huge, and I put my clothes in that. A TV, some landlords give you a TV to use, a fridge or refrigerator, microwave. I did have a microwave. I don't anymore. I got rid of it. An air conditioner and a water heater. We all need those. You just have to bring your suitcase, this ad says, and you're ready to move in. Yeah, you just have to bring your own personal belongings and you'll be set to go. You don't have to worry about renting furniture or going out and getting your own TV set up if you need to have a TV or now your computer is going to be something you'll want to bring on your own. They're not going to furnish that.
Unless you bring your laptop or computer, that will be easy to transport if you're coming from, say, Taichung or Kaohsiung and you're moving to Taipei to accept a job offer and you need a place to live. So this might be very convenient for you. So it is fully furnished. It has all the furniture and the amenities, we could also call them. And a suitcase, of course, is what you carry your items in when you travel. This is often confused with the word baggage.
Or luggage.
Luggage and baggage are non-count nouns because we don't know if you got a big suitcase or a small bag or whatever. So, yeah, how much baggage did you bring, etc.? How much baggage, how much luggage do you have? But a suitcase is countable. I have 2 suitcases here, countable.
Yeah, I'm kind of old-fashioned, so I still say suitcases. I have 2 suitcases, but I think now more and more people are just saying luggage, a piece of luggage, 2 pieces of luggage.
Yeah, you can't say luggages.
No, you cannot.
Or baggages.
No.
That's wrong.
That's wrong. So it's also got a newly renovated modern design that the landlord has for you. And it's got large windows with plenty of natural light. You know, some of these studios don't have any windows. So that's hard for me. I need a lot of light. So I would be interested in something that advertised having large windows and lots of light.
I've been lucky here in Taiwan. I have lived in apartments that had windows looking outside. But, of course, I realize that a lot of people live in those very crowded apartment buildings where the view out their window is of the next building over.
Yeah.
They might get some fresh air, but they can't really see any sunlight or anything like that.
That sounds like New York City, actually.
Yes, indeed. Big cities will probably have that problem as well.
That was my problem.
And we got some other concerns here. Of course, you want to know where the apartment is. That's the location. And you also need to be concerned about transportation, especially if you live in the city and you need to go to school or to work. You need to figure out how to get around, how to commute. Lots of people, of course, who ride scooters want to know if there's scooter parking nearby. If you drive a car, you want to know if there's parking for your car available and how much it costs. Or if you don't have any of those things, then you might want to walk or take the bus or take the MRT or take a taxi or Uber or whatever.
Yeah, I think the public transportation system in Taiwan is really fabulous. It's better than other cities I've lived in. I understand, Tokyo is quite good. But I've lived in Paris. It's better than Paris's. It's better than London's. It's definitely better than New York's. New York has an old subway and everything smells bad there. They do have buses, but again, it's just not the same. We have really fabulous mass transportation choices here in Taiwan. You can ride a bus, you can take the subway, You can ride a U-bike if you want, if the weather's good enough. But if you have a 10-minute walk to the nearest MRT station, I would say you're in a pretty good location. That's pretty quick. That's about, I guess I'm not quite a 10-minute walk. I'm about a 7-minute walk to the MRT. But I have lots of buses right outside my door. It's really convenient. And so if you have those sorts of transportation options, you'll feel like you're living in a very convenient location, and your life will just be easier because a lot of people spend a lot of time and use up a lot of their lives just going from one place to another, whether it's from work to home or even to school. So you want to get a place that's pretty convenient, at least is near some good transportation options.
Absolutely. And of course, one advantage of public transportation is whether you're standing or sitting, you can play on your phone. You can't really do that when you're on a scooter, although people try.
Oh, that's
and
bad.
You're not supposed to if you're driving. But remember, folks, take the MRT and you can spend an extra hour on your phone. Who doesn't want that? Okay, so again, it's very close to a nearby MRT station, so that gives you access to the rest of Taipei. You can go all over the place on the MRT, the green line, the red line, the blue line, the brown line, etc. And, of course, there are bus routes that go where the MRT doesn't. Now, here's the next feature. Nearby amenities, things that might make your life easier. The Sinich shopping district is just around the corner. Restaurants, shops, and supermarkets are all within walking distance. So I assume they're talking about the 101 area.
Yeah.
So, of course, 101 itself has lots of amenities, although they're quite expensive there if you like luxury boutiques or whatever. But, there are some other shopping areas. I think Muji's there, and is it H&M or whatever?
Yeah.
And there are a couple of
Zara clothing
That's
store.
That's right. They're all there. And, yes, they're all within walking distance, so you can walk there in 10 or 20 minutes and get some exercise, and you can come across these conveniences or these amenities. Also, it's close to gyms, libraries, and parks for your leisure and relaxation. So yes, indeed, if you want to work out, there are gyms there. You can get yourself a membership. A library can offer books to read or a quiet place to sit down and read and enjoy some quiet time to yourself. Or you can go to some nearby parks and play with a hula hoop or something like that, or chat with your friends, play some chess or whatever. These are all for your leisure and relaxation.
I can't remember the last time I played with a hula hoop, Tom. But you could. It's
they have them in those parks. They kind of hang on trees, I've noticed.
Definitely an option. So here are the rental conditions. This is what the landlord is asking for. He wants individuals who are quiet and respectful. Yeah, he doesn't want a lot of loud parties going on, into the middle of the night where the neighbors are bothered. He wants someone who's quiet and also respectful. If you're respectful, you're polite. And you try to make life for those around you pleasant. You try to accommodate what they need. If you have a roommate who needs to get up early, you might want to be extra quiet so they can go to sleep earlier at night. Those sorts of things. So if you're respectful, you show respect for others. And of course, that's the kind of roommate you would want as well.
Yeah, you're not loud or obnoxious or messy or whatever. They want somebody to be responsible and respectful.
Yeah.
That might be why a lot of landlords don't want to rent to foreigners because, according to the stereotype, foreigners love to party and they're loud and they cause trouble. So maybe that's not true of all of them, although there are certainly lots of people who like to party anywhere. Here's the next point here. Minimum lease term, okay? Minimum, okay, that's the smallest or shortest of something. The opposite would be maximum, okay? So the minimum lease term, the lowest amount of time in which you can sign a lease is 1 year. So if you sign a lease or an agreement to rent the apartment, you have to agree to stay there for 1 year. Some landlords are willing to rent month to month. If you pay 1 month and 2 months and after 3 months, I got a new job offer in Geelong. I need to move. So in that case, you can move out. But if this is a lease here, you're going to be penalized if you break your contract early.
Yeah, we use lease, guys, when we talk about things that are rented for a longer period of time. For example, you can rent a car for a week or 2 weeks, right? But if you rent a car for, say, a year or two, it's called a lease. You're leasing your car. And usually those car leases are on cars that are more expensive, the nice ones. Or maybe your company is leasing cars and then allowing their employees to use them. So we do use lease to talk about renting something. Also, it's a noun, and it can be a contract. The contract is actually called the lease. So no pets are allowed, and smoking is prohibited. But before we get to that, what's a security deposit, Tom?
That's money you have to give to the landlord or the landlady at the beginning. So if you cause problems with the apartment, if you damage things, then they have some money to pay for those things in case you jump town or skip town and move away without telling the landlord they need this money for security, just to make sure they don't suffer any losses. That's reasonable.
Yeah, and it's usually 2 months of rent, just regular rent.
They usually say the first and last month's rent.
Yeah, that's what mine was. So no pets. So if you have a cat or a dog that you love and want to move in with that, nope, not here. And smoking is also prohibited inside the apartment. And I think nowadays it's prohibited outside the apartment as well, in the building. It isn't ours. You get fined if you're caught smoking in the hall or anywhere in the lobby.
Even the yangtai, the balcony?
Yeah, no. If it's in your own apartment, though, it's according to the landlord. So this landlord doesn't like the smell of smoke. I don't blame him or her. It doesn't smell very good. If something's prohibited, it is against the rules or against the regulations. You may not do it. It's forbidden. So it's prohibited, at least inside this apartment. So if you have a smoking habit, this particular apartment's not for you.
Okay, so if you are interested in viewing the apartment, feel free to message me. Send me a message via line or WhatsApp or whatever. I'd be happy to arrange a viewing at your convenience. So a viewing, of course, is when you go check out the apartment to see if you like it. And if you do like it, and if other people aren't interested in the apartment, you can go ahead and say, okay, I will rent it. Let me sign on the dotted line. Well, that brings us to the end of our discussion. We'd like to hear from our Chinese teacher now.
听众朋友大家好，我是安娜，又来到我们多益单元。其实这个多益单元真的很实用诶，比如说有很多这个北漂的青年啦，就要来租房子嘛。那这个租房子其实在台北是真的蛮贵的。我们今天来看一下，今天如果你想要租的是一个雅房的话，是便宜啦。可是如果要租套房，比如说我们今天谈到这个 studio， 那这个套房啊 ，studio 这个字在英文当中其实就是一个通常是单户的，然后一个房间、一个客厅，然后一套卫浴这样子的这种套房叫做 studio， 所以跟我们认知的那种什么录音室、工作室不太一样。这个套房。好，那当然这套房要怎么样来用广告来吸引你来租呢？当然一定要先看一下它到底是位于哪里，租金哪里嘛。所以一开始我们在仔细介绍的这个之前在第一段我们看到这个租金呢，1个月是多少钱？这个租我们常常有用到叫做 rent。好，那地址 address 一定会给你啊。不过我们把地址这个字抓出来一下。address 叫做地址，那这个字很特别，因为在高中英文当中我们还蛮常会用到。如果你念 address 的话，它会变成一个动词，它就有演说啊、说明的意思。好，这个字要特别注意。好，那当然这个广告当中会告诉你说，房客啊，我们在找你哦。这个房客英文怎么讲呢？它就出现在地址下面这个地方的第一句 future tenant 就是房客啊。你说房东怎么讲？英文的房东叫 landlord， L-A-N-D-L-O-R-D， 房东 landlord。 好，那这个 studio apartment 呢，这个套房啊，基本上它也是全新装潢装潢这个字已经不是我们以前记那个 decorate 那个装饰的意思哦，它基本上有把旧的拆掉啊，重新弄新，有那种房屋翻新的意思。所以接下来 hello 这个第一句嘛，接下来第二句的 I'm offering 这个地方的 renovate 我们要特别抓出来，因为房子如果是老了然后装修，像台北有很多的老房子都在装修啊，翻新就会用这个动词。 那接下来找的这个房客呢，就很适合，因为既然是一个套房嘛，如果是单身的专业人士啊 ，professional 学生也 OK。好，那我们就要赶快来看咯，这个公寓本身自己这个 studio apartment， 它这个独户这一间呢，到底有什么特色？它的特色就是装备非常的齐全，而且有加大的双人床啊、衣柜啊等等。我们看这个 apartment feature 这个特色当中的第一点，那所谓的 fully furnished furniture 是家具嘛？那 fully furnished 就表示里面所有的家具设备都全部都有了。不过我们来看一下这个床，这个床我们一般的那种双人床啊，英文叫做 double 就是5尺6尺。那这个尺在英文当中是 foot F-O-O-T 这个字 foot 不是脚哦，是尺咯，在这里当尺的意思。那一尺是 30.48 公分嘛，我们就差不多说一尺就是30公分，所以我们一般睡的 double 双人床就是5尺6尺啊。可是在这里这个床呢，它是 queen size 的。那双人床这个 queen size 的话呢，它就是6尺6尺，也就是差不多182公分乘以188公分。可是像我们家的床很大，是 king size 比 queen 还要大一点，那它是6尺7尺182公分乘以212公分所以这个床其实有很多不同尺寸。那接下来这个衣柜就困扰我们很久啊，因为 wardrobe 它是衣柜没有错，可是有时候我们会用 closet C-L-O-S-E-T 这个字。那这个 closet 呢跟 wardrobe 有时候可以通用啦，但是也有一些说法就是说这个 wardrobe 通常是可以移动的。那 closet 的话有时候还衍生出另外一个字叫做 walk-in closet walk-in W-A-L-K 然后 dash 连字号的 I-N， 就是你可以走进去的那个衣橱衣柜啊。那你家很大那就是衣帽间，对不对？那衣帽间里面就放你的所有的 clothing 啊，所有衣服啊，那个是比较大衣帽间会用 walk-in closet。 好，那至于一般的小的储物柜都叫做 cabinet C-A-B-I-N-E-T。 那这个除了说我们在这边特别讲到这个双人床的尺柜啊衣柜，还有一个东西不能放过，就是比较后面的地方我们有看到 water heater， 对不对？ water heater 就字面上嘛，热水的那个东西。可是这个所谓的热水器有好几种至少在台湾就有2种。有一种是整个这个大桶子里面是把水加热，然后你用热水，可是我们都很习惯用天然瓦斯，对不对？如果是瓦斯热水器，在这个 water heater 前面加上 gas water heater， 所以你现在看它这个热水器呢，应该不是那种瓦斯的就是电热水器，有一个除热水的。好，那接下来就看第二个重点啦， location 地点 transportation。 哇 10 minute walk 只要10分钟就到达 the MRT 捷运站。还有第二点的公车路线很多那我们注意一下路线这个字，这个路线的路已经不是那个 road， 它指的是跑动的路线路线就像我们赛车路线要怎么走到哪里这是一个路线。我们把第二点当中的 route R-O-U-T-E route 特别把它抓出来bus routes 公车路线。那周边有没有什么设施呢？比如说你有没有菜市场还是有没有什么东西？特别注意一下 nearby amenity 这个字的设施它指的是一些生活福利设施娱乐消遣的设施。比如说你看到购物中心还有这个什么这个餐厅超市这些会用这个所谓的设施用的是 amenity 这个字。那条件如何呢？通常我们就是套房大概就是一个人嘛 individual 第一点当中的 individual。但是我们特别注意一下第二点当中最短的租期是1年。我们刚刚不是说租是 rent 吗？ R-E-N-T 有没有？现在看到 lease L-E-A-S-E 这个字也要记耶，因为有些房东他不是租你几个月，他一年一年的租所以如果以年为单位的那个租通常都会用 lease L-E-A-S-E 当然一定要付押金押金同样在最后面 rental condition 第二点当中后面一点 deposit 哇，所以这个租屋其实有很多不同的这个细节，然后还有英文的说法，希望大家都学到了。我是安娜，我们明天见。
We're going to take a quick break. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Okay, guys, we've got some discussion questions. They're kind of related. I'll ask you first, Tom. Have you ever rented a place before? And if so, what was your experience like?
My goodness, I've rented all sorts of places. Of course, I lived in dormitories in college. Then I lived off campus and rented apartments there. I guess I could talk about the experience I had here in Taiwan. I lived in Xindian in the mountains there. And it was pretty good. The landlady was pretty reasonable. And the rent was not too expensive. So I had a pretty good time out there. I think I lived there for 3 years. But it was too far, and I got tired of going back and forth between this place and the city. I was still working, so yeah, that was my experience there. And this particular housing community was notorious for water shortages. Every once in a while, the water would turn off.
Wow.
And you'd have to have some water in reserve in a large container in case the water got turned off. So you probably would have to take a really cold shower in the winter or something like that.
Wow.
Or heat it up on the stove or whatever. So yeah, that wasn't very convenient. I wonder if they still have that problem at that place.
You were really way out there. I've only rented in Taipei City, so my experiences have been pretty good. I've liked my landlords. They've been helpful. I did leave after I'd been in a certain studio after a couple of years because my landlord kind of wanted to control how much air conditioning I used. Because they were paying for the bill, and I finally just said, hey, I don't want that included. That will not be part of the utilities. I will pay my own bill. I like to have air conditioning when I want air conditioning and not have someone constantly controlling it. So, yeah, it's been a good experience here in Taiwan. I've rented everywhere since I've been an adult. So you'll find good landlords and bad landlords, good roommates and bad roommates. It's kind of a fun experience.
There's always the danger if you rent an apartment. One day the landlord will say, well, you got to move. I've got a friend from Kaohsiung who's moving up to Taipei and needs a place to live. You got to get out right now. So sometimes that does happen.
Yep.
Okay, that brings us to the end of our lesson for today. Thank you for joining us, and please join us again next time when we listen to a conversation about what to do if you have roommates, the rules that you need to follow so you can avoid problems. And also remember to check out our content on YouTube and Facebook. From all of us here at English Digest, I'm Tom.
I'm Stephanie.
Goodbye.
Bye.